Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year! I have been in New York City these past few weeks, just hibernating, but also soaking in the festive spirit of the holidays. I've done quite a bit of traveling this past year, and I'm just glad that I've gotten this chance to relax and recharge because I very much needed it. Now I am back with a video today to share with you guys my experience traveling to India for the first time last November, specifically the city of Mumbai. I'm not planning on making this video a comprehensive guide on everything you need to know about traveling to Mumbai. If you want to see my experience and what I did in Mumbai, please make sure to check out my vlogs. Those are out. But this video is just gonna be more so me talking through what I did there, how I got around, and a lot of helpful tips that I feel like you guys need to know if you're planning on traveling there that will make your trip a lot smoother. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Some things to know about this big city of dreams is that it is the second largest city in India. It is its financial capital. That's where the stock exchange is. So it's a big economic hub. It's also home to Bollywood, and it's really just the land of opportunity in India. It's a big transplant city, so a lot of people have moved from different states over to Mumbai for a better job and for a better life. You can compare it very much to a New York City, which is where I live, and it's just very diverse. So the first thing I wanted to touch on was the language and what they speak there in Mumbai, and the local language is Marathi, and another language called Gujarati is also spoken. But something interesting that I learned is that most people there also speak and communicate with Hindi because, like I said, people are from different states all over the country, and so you might run into people that don't speak the same local dialect as you do or the local language that you usually speak back home. And so Hindi is kind of just that universal language in Mumbai that can be spoken so that people from different areas can communicate with each other effectively. And they also speak English, and they speak great English, as a matter of fact. I had no issues getting around Mumbai speaking English, and if someone wasn't able to speak English, they could at least understand English, which was still very helpful because I have been to a handful of European countries that people spoke even less English there. So if you are worried about not being able to communicate in India, that should really be the least of your worries, especially in a big cosmopolitan city like Mumbai. You will be fine. The next thing I want to talk about is where I stayed when I was in Mumbai. So if you're looking to travel there and you do a quick Google on where to stay in Mumbai, you'll likely see places like Colaba or Churchgate or Marine Drive, which are all great places. Those are in South Mumbai, and it's really where all the attractions are, you know, like the gateway of India, and really where all the TripAdvisor destinations that you see that you have to go to in Mumbai, that's really where it is. It's very busy, it's very touristy, it's a lot of people. But my biggest advice when it comes to where to stay in Mumbai, because it is a very big city, is to figure out what you're gonna do in Mumbai first and pin it on a map so you can see where all the attractions are. From there, then decide where you want to stay according to, you know, the area that you have the most attractions pinned. For me, I like to steer a little bit away from any downtown of any city. I like to maybe be there for a walking tour just to see the main sites and attractions that I need to see. And then I like to stay in a little bit more of a quieter neighborhood. And so for me, I chose to stay in Bandra, which is more north, and it is known as an upscale neighborhood with more international influence. It's very hip and chic, and it has a lot of coffee shops, boutiques, trendy restaurants. I really like the peace and the safety there. It was also very walkable, and usually you can get around in rickshaws, which I'll get into next when I talk about transportation. And I just enjoyed Bandra very much, and I knew it was a neighborhood where you could do so much and where I really wanted to center myself so that if I walk out of my hotel, I can just go to a restaurant that I like and stay within that vicinity. From my hotel in Bandra to the downtown area, or really to anywhere else where the main attractions are, it was usually about a 40 to 45 minute Uber ride, which, yes, it is a lot of time. That is including traffic, by the way. But one thing to note as well is that traffic is quite inevitable in Mumbai. Mumbai is notorious for traffic, so it's not really something that you can avoid, which is why you want to do your best to center yourself in an area that you're going to want to be in the most, but then there's bound to be traffic when you go elsewhere. Just keep that in mind. Next, I wanted to talk about what I did for transportation, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this and how I got around. And one word, you guys, one word, and that's Uber. I took Uber everywhere, with the exception of 2 times where I took the local train, and that was because it was included in the tours that I was doing, and I'm very thankful that they were, because the trains seemed quite complicated. I didn't have to pay for the tickets, I didn't have to purchase them, I didn't have to figure out where to go, so thank you to my tour guides for doing all that. And even what train to get on, it all seemed quite complicated, although I'm sure I could have figured it out eventually. But Ubers are really affordable and easy to take there. There's also another app called Ola, which is an internet, like a local ride-sharing app, but I found that Uber worked just fine for me. Something to note is that in Bandra, which is the neighborhood that I stayed in, you can take rickshaws, and that's the main mode of transit there besides walking is rickshaws. And what's cool is that it's really only for the Bandra neighborhood and maybe some other ones, I don't know, but you cannot take these rickshaws out to Colaba or the downtown area because the traffic is way too hectic there. It was pretty easy to hail down rickshaws when you needed to. They are literally everywhere, and they start at 23 rupees when it's not a peak time. I don't remember exactly what the starting rate was for peak times. I think maybe 28 or 35 rupees, but we never ran into any issues like getting ripped off or somebody not turning the meter on. Another cool way you can actually avoid that as well is calling an Uber rickshaw. Yes, there are Uber auto rickshaws that you can actually take and call. So we actually started out our trip hailing them, but then we decided to just call them on the Uber app because it's literally the same price. You don't have to worry about them not turning the meter on, and then you don't have to explain the address to them if you're going to like a specific area that's harder to communicate the address of. So that was so convenient. And then within the Uber app, something that was different as well is that you can call it an economy car, which is like a normal car without AC, but they roll the windows down for you. You can do that, and that's usually really affordable as well. Or you can call a premium car, which is just a nicer car, nicer seats. There is AC, and that costs a little bit more. We found ourselves calling the premium car pretty much every time, mainly because the wait time for the economy car was gonna take a lot longer than the premium, and I was only in Mumbai for a few short days, so I really wanted to seize every minute I had there, and I didn't want to wait too long just for a car to get me to my next place. So we called the premium, and usually every ride ranged from, I would say, about to like $8 to $10, which is a lot for like Indian pricing standards, but for Americans, for a 45-minute ride, it's really not too much. And I also just love Uber because you don't have to negotiate the price. And like I said, I didn't get ripped off once the entire time I was in Mumbai, which I don't know if that's just luck or if it's me using the Uber app or whatever. I just highly recommend using Uber, okay? It's amazing. And yes, you can also take the local trains, and I actually highly recommend that you do at some point in your trip because they're super, super affordable, and you can really see like the local life there of people commuting and people getting to places and just see what that's like. But if you're not totally confident in your navigating skills and what you're doing, you can just use Uber like me. Another thing to note is that Mumbai is going to be coming out with a more extensive metro system soon as well. Currently they have a few lines. I think maybe for people that are living in Navi Mumbai, which is the new Mumbai area, but they are going to be coming out with more metro lines. So it's gonna be even easier to travel around Mumbai. Okay, I feel like I've been talking so much, but I wanna get into my next thing, which is how I planned my trip in Mumbai. How did I decide to do what I wanted to do and what kind of approach I took when I was planning out my schedule? So if you know me and you watch my videos, then you know I'm a pretty chill person when it comes to traveling. I like to do a lot of food-centric things. So on this trip, I knew I wanted to take a food tour, and I loved the food tour. I'll link it down below. It's probably my favorite that I've ever taken in any country. But I tried so many different snacks because Mumbai is a very snacking city. Like, people are always on the go, so they're known for their snacks, for anything that's really quick to eat. And that was so much fun, and I recommend that tour because not only do you get to taste the snacks and talk to the guide who is a local Mumbai born and bred person, but you also get to walk through different alleys and streets that you otherwise would not have as a foreigner, because I had no idea where I was half the time. But it was fun seeing like the local lives of what people that live there are doing and selling and eating and stuff like that. It was just so nice to see. And then another thing that I did there that was a little unusual for me was I went to a fine dining restaurant called Mask, which specialized in local ingredients. I unfortunately did not get to go to other states this trip, only Mumbai, but I know that India has a lot of different ingredients and herbs and vegetables and spices that are just so special and unique to India that I really wanted to try. And so I was able to try a lot of that in this restaurant. Like, even our cocktail was made with apples from Kashmir, which is a northern state near the Himalayas, and I thought that was really cool. So even just getting a taste of the different ingredients that are available in India, that was such an experience for me. I typically don't like crowded places, so I knew I wanted to do one walking tour that was in the downtown area just to kind of see all of the highlights of Mumbai and just be done there. I spent the majority of my time, you know, either at a beach or in Bandra, because I really love going to cafes. I like going to cocktail bars too, to see what the young people are doing nowadays, what their nightlife looks like. I'm very much an observer when it comes to traveling, so I wanted to center myself in Bandra where all of that was happening. There are honestly an endless amount of things you can do. You can even go further and go to the Elephant Caves, which is very, very beautiful, but I didn't get a chance to do that this time. There are day trips that you can take from Mumbai. You know, there's so much you can do. Just focus really on what interests you. And you know, you can take tours too. There's a bunch of tours on anything that you're interested in. So you will not be bored in Mumbai. I can guarantee you that. I want to talk a little bit about what I ate and whether or not I felt okay after what I ate, because this is understandably a very big concern for most people. And even before this trip, I was telling my friends and family where I was going, and they were like, be careful for your stomach, make sure you don't, you know, make sure you drink water and eat at places that are clean and stuff like that. Well, I am happy to say that I did not get food poisoning, and that my stomach honestly has not felt better in Mumbai. And I'm serious, like, I felt completely fine. That is not me bragging in any way, because I have a very sensitive stomach. I know I eat a lot on this channel and eat a lot of food, but I think the reason why I was fine is because I eat a lot of different foods on a regular basis, and I also chose places that looked clean. Like, honestly, like, I went to restaurants that local Mumbai people would go to. I didn't really eat too much street food unless it was on those tours, and even then, like, I was a little bit nervous about some of the stalls that we went to, especially when I saw that they weren't wearing gloves, but I also trusted my tour guide, and a lot of the ingredients are very fresh, and there's very high turnover because most food stalls are only selling one thing. So after they're done with one batch, they have to make another batch, which usually means that the food is like pretty fresh, you know. And something that you want to just kind of look out for is, you know, whether they're wearing gloves, their hair nets. There are even stalls that advertise that they use a certain kind of water, like bottled water, so you know that it's clean, or that they advertise that they withhold a certain standard of hygiene there. There's also a lot of vegetarian food, like a lot of people eat vegetarian food. So if you're not a meat eater, that also kind of helps with minimizing your risks of any sort of stomach bug or food poisoning. Oh, and quick tip, they do not eat beef there, so you will not be eating beef at all. Lastly, I really want to say Mumbai is a highly westernized city, and yes, you can eat the street food, and yes, you can eat all the street snacks because those are amazing as well, but really try to diversify the restaurants that you go into, because local Mumbaiers are not just eating snacks every day. They also like to treat themselves to a nice restaurant or even a cuisine that's not local to Mumbai, like South Indian food, or even fusion food, desserts, snacks. Like, you don't have to just eat the food that's off of the street. You can go to the bajillion different restaurants that are there, and there is a world-class dining scene that exists in Mumbai for a reason, and a lot of people that work very hard to either get the culinary background that they need to, or to travel abroad to get the experience that they need to and come back to Mumbai to create these restaurants and serve the food that they do. So make sure you take advantage of the dining scene in Mumbai because it's very diverse. You can do low budget, high budget, mid budget. Yes, there's so much good food there. I would just recommend taking Pepto-Bismol if you're from the States, Pepto-Bismol or Tums, just in case of any stomach issues. But yeah, try to eat at restaurants, and if you're someone who is used to eating a lot of different foods already, you should be fine. Okay, next I wanted to give some important random tips, but these are very, very helpful. Some of them were very helpful. So, number one, oh my goodness, booking things on Indian websites were basically impossible for me. I went to a jazz concert when I was in Mumbai, and I tried to book the tickets in advance on the website, on a very reputable website with my credit card, in which it was allowed, and I called my bank to make sure that my card was okay to be used for an international transaction, and that didn't go through. We tried to book ferry tickets to a nearby beach destination called Alibag, and that didn't work. It's really weird. I would put in my credit card, I would hit submit, and it would just kind of continuously go in circles on the screen as if it was trying to process it, but it couldn't. So that was very frustrating, and in the end, I ended up having to have my hotel book all the tickets for me, and I'm so grateful that they did that. And this is something really important to know, because I did a quick Google search and I found other forums where people were talking about the same issue that they had with their US card not being able to go through for some reason, even though the card should allow that. So just keep that in mind, and if that happens to you, have the receptionist at your hotel help you book it. Send them an email and say, hey, so sorry, my card isn't going through, and have them do it, because my hotel team was very, very helpful. Another tip is for your travel adapter. So if you have an international travel adapter, you'll see that it has UK, Europe, it has Asia, I forgot, Australia. Most international travel adapters do not have an outlet for India. So for India, you actually have to buy a separate travel adapter. And I learned that when I was there at our second hotel. So I ended up having to borrow one from the reception. But the first hotel in Mumbai, it actually, I think it's used to foreigners not bringing that specific India travel adapter. So we were able to use our US one. But keep in mind that you do have to buy a separate specific India travel adapter to go to India. Another couple of tips is that you don't want to drink water on tap. That is not safe. Make sure you drink bottled water. I recommend bringing like wipes to wipe your hands after you eat, because you will be snacking a lot. And I just found my baby wipes very helpful. You definitely will need cash. You will absolutely need cash, although a lot of places did accept credit card, like at nicer restaurants, stuff like that. But for snacks or for like souvenirs, you will need cash. And that's another thing, is that we had trouble getting cash out from like 2 different banks when we first landed in Mumbai. Even in the airport, we had trouble getting out cash for some reason or another. It just canceled our transaction until we went to, I forgot what bank it was, but it was a little bit more of an international bank. We went into their ATM and we were able to get cash out. So if you are unsuccessful getting cash out from a few local banks, just try maybe like an HSBC or something that's more internationally known, and then you should be able to take it out. Lastly, I wanted to close with a few words of just kind of why I fell in love with Mumbai, because yes, I absolutely did. I loved it so much, and I think it's because it reminds me a lot of New York City. I've always been someone who's been just drawn to just like bustling cities that are too chaotic. It's almost fun to get lost in the rhythm, to get lost in the hustle and bustle. And for me, I just love, like, Mumbai was almost manic to me. Like, the traffic is worse than New York City. The honking is literally nonstop because people are just trying to get to places, and I love that energy. There's always so much going on. It's really a city that never sleeps, and I feel very motivated by that. And I also just love seeing people move to a place where dreams can come true, where you can meet other people with maybe unconventional mindsets, or people that want to achieve goals that are not in the conventional realm. And I feel like Mumbai is a city of dreams that allows for people to be able to do that. So that really wraps up my video. It was a pretty long video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm sure I didn't cover everything. And a lot of you guys who have been watching my vlogs have been telling me to go to other states, and I will, okay? I will. I want to. I guess one other tip for any of you that are watching that want to go to India but are scared, or you don't know where to start, think of India as, not even think of India. India is a very, very big country. So much to do, right? So many landscapes, so many types of trips you can take. So your first trip to India will probably not be your last, and it really shouldn't be your last. And that's kind of how I thought about it. I had always wanted to go to India, that I thought, you know what, I don't have a month to take off work, but I do have a week, or I do have 5 days, and I want to see a little bit of it because I know eventually I'll go back and I'll see more, and I know I'll go back multiple times because it's a beautiful country with so much to see, so many things to learn, and I will definitely be back. And just know that if you don't cover everything on your first trip, you're really not supposed to. That would be crazy, and that would be very unusual if you did. And if you want to see India, really just go for it. You're gonna have so much fun. Okay? Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I hope this video was helpful. Again, leave any questions that you have down below. I'll be happy to answer them, and I will see you all in my next video, and stay tuned for all my travel vlogs in 2025. Bye!